out there in YouTube land. Rival here. Thanks for stopping by. As you can see, we've got something pretty special on the turntable for you this week. This is actually a Grail that's been in my private collection for quite some time now, a little over 2 years, and I spent the better part of a year chasing after one of these things. They could pop up on the market from time to time, but I was really looking for this exact configuration, to be quite honest. So when it came up, I was quite happy to have procured it. Sadly, it is going to be moving on from my collection soon, which is why I'm kind of documenting it and showing her off before she goes away. You know, once you've caught your Grail, well, another one seems to pop up, and in order to fund some of those purchases, you gotta wheel and deal, so that's what's going down. But anywho, this is a Pohan Leu Hamachi full custom. It's a beast, as you can see. It is a full titanium frame lock. It's got a zirconium bolster, zirconium floating back spacer. You can see the space in the spacer. It's got a zirconium sculpted clip, blue stone-washed, anodized frame. It's got custom titanium hardware all the way around, the marbled carbon fiber scale. Now this thing is 7.7 ounces. It is a brick in the pocket. But that's because you've got a full 1/8" slab of titanium. You've got actually this is a little over an 1/8" slab of titanium, because this is an 1/8" slab of Zirc and an 1/8" slab of marbled carbon fiber, and almost a 1/4" slab making up the pocket clip. So again, I mean, beast mode. It's got a S35 VN blade with Leu's famous Scandi zero grind. So that's what you're looking at when you're looking at the blade there. We've got 3.5 inches of cutting edge, 4 inches of blade overall. He does make a slightly smaller model, but it is still beefy. The Scandi grind is something that is quite unique. You don't see a lot of guys doing this kind of stuff. And even when they are, they're still putting secondary bevels on a lot of them. This is a true zero ground Scandi. You can see the light reflecting off the cutting edge there. And if you're not familiar with a zero grind, that is where that primary bevel just comes right to an edge. There is no secondary edge that needs to be worked, sharpened, or polished. It is all just in that primary bevel, and that really adds to its ability to cut and slice. Despite the fact that this is a thicker blade stock, it is truly a fine cutter. You know, we were take to this piece of phone book paper. Whoop. Hold on. If I can get an angle on it. There we go. I mean, it's going to cut through this stuff like a hot knife through butter. Because of the performance that zero grind really brings to the table. That is something that, like I mentioned, Pohan is very famous for. He's got it on his bluefin and what's it, like Marauder, I think the new blade is called. So one of the things that really sets this knife apart as opposed to several other I want to take a moment to talk about is the fact that you've got his signature on the blade with a single squiggly line underneath. So I have spoken to Pohan about that, and that denotes that this is the first blade in its configuration and setup. So when he makes new configurations or new setups, he'll do one, and he'll put that single line squiggle to denote that that's the first of its kind. He'll do the first, or the next 11, so for the total of the first 12, he does with 2 squiggles under the line to denote that that's the first run of that particular setup. Once he's done more than 12 of a particular setup, that's when you're just going to see him signing his name with just the Leu, no squiggles. So if you're ever looking at Hamachis or any Pohan blade for that matter, and you see them with 1 squiggle, 2 squiggle, or no squiggles, that's how you know what you're getting. No squiggles is later in the run. 1 line denotes that it's the first of its kind. So in this particular instance, this is the first one that he had done where it doesn't have an upper swedge. A lot of these will have an upper swedge about midway through the blade, and it's that Quaken style swedge, similar to what you might see on like a Burnley Quaken or something like that. It doesn't go all the way to the cutting edge, but it does put a nice swedge in the upper portion of that blade. Now this one also has, like we showed off before, that floating spacer, and it is dripping with Zirc. You don't see a lot of these up for grabs. I've never even seen a double squiggle, let alone one without any squiggles at all. So I don't know how many of these he's made, but I do know that this is the first setup like this. So that helps add to the rarity of this particular knife. Something else about this knife that is quite interesting, when I got it in hand, it took me a week to be able to flip this thing open without my finger slipping off the tab or just my finger not having enough strength, because, I mean, you can see how thick the stock is for the frame lock. The detent is no joke on these bad boys. When you open them up, I would, until you get used to a Pohan detent, going like this is just going to hurt your finger. I had learned by kind of side pulling, so I'm putting my hand or my finger more along the side of it and using more force to be able to flip that open. Now, once your hand gets used to that detent and this setup, it flips open. I don't want to say easily, but once you've built up your man strength and your flipper finger, it's a lot easier than it was the first couple of days I had it in hand. That's for damn sure. I mean, she is a looker. You've got that blue popping out of the darkness with that orange peeled zirc and that marbled carbon fiber, and the reflection on that marbled carbon fiber. Hopefully you're catching this in the video because it is sexy as hell. It's just a beautiful and gorgeous knife. It's not a cheap knife, which is why it stays pretty much in the safe. I don't hardly ever take this out. I darn sure don't carry it too much. I've pocketed it once or twice. I mean, how can you not? But it doesn't get the loving that it deserves. I mean, a blade like this can do work. And so hopefully as I pass her along in its next life, she's going to get to do some of that work. But yeah, I mean, it's got the sculpted clip. It's got good retention. Zirc is a bit softer than, say, titanium or steel. But when it's in this thickness and this configuration, it's got good retention. I don't know if you can see, but the way he set up the clip is it doesn't completely touch the titanium like you'd see on a lot of spring clips. That allows for easier insertion and removal from the pocket. It's got a nice deep cutout in the sculpting, so it sits and rides really, really well. The position is really nice on that clip too. It looks like it's over that cutout for the lock bar, but it's really the majority of the touch is on the backside of the lock bar, so you still get really good pocket retention. As you can see on the logo, it is an IKBS flipper, so once you do break that detent, it is buttery smooth. And I'm not talking like production company buttery smooth. I am talking custom hand-tuned buttery smooth. Just one of the many things that sets some of Pohan's blades apart from many others. It is very well done. Every inch of this blade is painstakingly gone over. So it really makes it a truly unique piece of art, not just a knife. It's got that Quaken style, which is something that I am truly in love with. I really, really like McQuaken blades. So that was one of the reasons that I was chasing this for such a long time. You can get in on his order book still if you email him. I believe the last time I spoke to him, his wait list is only 2 years long. So, you know, there you go. They do pop up on the Cove from time to time. I see them on Arizona Custom Knife Works from time to time, too. Again, I've never seen this configuration with all the black Zirc. But I have seen Timascus and carbon fiber, and I've seen, what's it called? Superconductor and carbon fiber. So there are some other options out there. But this, as denoted by that single line, is the only one set up this way. That is all I've got for you guys this week. I know videos have been sporadic, and I do apologize for that. As you know, some tastes change and more blades come out, it's harder for me to get my hands on enough blades to be doing videos every single week. So I'm trying to find inspiration and ways to get you some cool stuff that people will still enjoy and that I still enjoy taking the time talking about. That being said, I've got a couple of ideas for my next video, so I'm not completely gone away. I will have another video up very soon, so watch for that. In the meantime, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Rival Knives. But that's all I got for you. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.